This week, leading up to Earth Day, we're showcasing the people that are working to protect life on Earth. Hurricanes that are getting more destructive are one of the threats that species face. The Puerto Rican parrot is one of the most critically endangered birds in the world. National environmental correspondent David Schechter introduces us to the people trying to save them.
Emerald green like the forest that shelters them. This is the endangered Puerto Rican parrot, and it teeters on the brink of extinction.
4:45 a.m. and this morning we're going to witness the release of the Puerto Rican parrot from captivity out into the wild.
The people of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service are excited to release 10 birds that they've raised in captivity.
Okay, we're going to open the cage here in about 10 or 15 minutes, so everybody needs to be at their position.
This is the way I think I'm contributing to my island.
Maricel Lopez Flores runs the Parrot Recovery Program. She's telling me feeders have been set up outside the enclosure to encourage the birds to leave it. Each bird is wearing a tracking collar with an antenna that will eventually break off.
Are they just going to shoot out of the cage when the door opens?
No, hopefully not. What we'll do is just, this is called a soft release. We open the door before the sunrise, and after the door is open, we just allow them to just fly whenever they want.
Very casual, huh?
Exactly.
In Puerto Rico, massive deforestation is what pushed the parrots towards extinction. When birds lose their habitat, often to land development, it limits where they can live, find food, and raise their young. Research from Cornell University found since 1970 a loss of 2.9 billion adult birds in North America, a decrease of almost 30%. The future is looking a bit brighter for these birds. A couple of brave parrots are already curious, taking cautious steps towards the outside feeder. A quick meal, and they're off to join their friends on the outside, becoming wild birds.
I had wanted to be a wildlife biologist ever since growing up in rural western Tennessee.
Tom White's been working with the parrots since the early 90s, helping rebuild the population until 2017. And Hurricane Maria. When it made landfall in Puerto Rico, it killed 3,000 people, causing historic floods and landslides. Researchers found Maria's extreme rainfall was 5 times more likely because of climate change, making supercharged hurricanes a major threat to the parrot's survival. Before the storm hit, the captive breeding birds were rushed into a concrete shelter. And Tom took this video while he and his wife rode out the storm, caring for the birds.
Late that afternoon, we were able to actually open the door and go outside. And we were speechless. It went from being green and lush to brown and defoliated in the question of hours.
The breeding birds that Tom was sheltering all survived, but crews could not reach the wild birds out in remote parts of the jungle that were starving from the lack of vegetation. Of the 56 wild birds in El Yunque National Forest, this was the only parrot that lived.
I'll admit I had a couple of times I just cried, because you see 20 years of work and progress, and then it's wiped out in less than a day.
Since Maria, the team now encourages newly released birds to nest much closer to the aviary so they can be fed in an emergency. Thanks to human intervention, there is now a growing population of 300 wild parrots on the island.
We are the only species on the planet that can consciously recognize their own environmental damage and repair it.
It's a lot of work. But what's happening here shows us that we can, as humans, try to repair some of the damage that we've done. David Schechter, CBS News, Puerto Rico.
And there are some birds here locally that are endangered or threatened, including the piping plover and the Rufa redknot. You can watch David's full 30-minute special called Protecting Life on Earth this Saturday at 7:30 on our streaming channel, CBS News New York.